On October 25, 2022, in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee, a park ranger discovered 5 missing college students who had vanished 4 days earlier on the Hazel Creek Trail. Ranger Robert Sullivan found the University of Tennessee students alive and unharmed in a remote section near Bone Valley. But something was wrong. Despite being lost for 4 days, they were impossibly clean, calm, too calm. They moved together, stood together, and when they spoke as one. What Sullivan witnessed during the 6-mile hike back to safety disturbed him so deeply that this veteran ranger quit his job the very next day, left Tennessee entirely, and has refused to enter a forest ever since. This is his account of what really happened when those 5 students walked out of the mountains. I need to tell someone about this. It's been 3 months and I still can't stop thinking about what happened in the Smokies last October. Day 4 of a search and rescue. 5 college kids from UT missing on the Hazel Creek Trail. We'd already searched my assigned sector twice, found nothing. Then command sent me back to check it again. Sector 7G, Bone Valley. If you know the Smokies, you know Bone Valley isn't somewhere you wander into by accident. It's remote, choked with laurel and old-growth forest. The kind of place where fog doesn't drift in, it drops like something being lowered over your eyes. I was irritated, honestly. Felt like a waste of time. But you don't argue assignments. Around 2 p.m. I heard voices. Not yelling, not calling for help, laughing. I followed the sound and found them sitting by the creek, all 5 of them. Clean clothes, full water bottles, no dirt on their faces, no panic, no exhaustion. They looked like they'd stepped off the trail 10 minutes ago, not survived 4 days lost in October wilderness. The blonde one smiled when he saw me, said they'd gotten turned around. Casual, relaxed. 4 days missing and he talked like they'd overslept. That should have been my first real warning. I radioed base immediately, told them I'd found all 5 uninjured. Diane's relief came through the static loud and clear. When I clipped the radio back to my vest, the dark-haired girl flinched. She said the noise was too loud. It struck me as odd, but people act strange after trauma. I verified their names against my list. Tyler, Madison, Jennifer, Brent, David. They nodded in perfect unison. 5 heads, 1 motion, like they'd practiced it. They said they'd gotten lost near a clearing with 3 oaks where the trail splits. I've worked these trails for 8 years. There is no clearing with 3 oaks on Hazel Creek. But you don't argue with survivors. Trauma bends memory. When I asked if everyone could walk the 6 miles out, they stood up together. Same smooth movement, no hesitation. They said they could walk, not one by one, together. The hike out should have taken 3, maybe 4 hours, slower with tired hikers. But they kept pace with me, perfect pace. No stumbling, no complaints, no request for breaks. After 4 days in the woods, they moved like they'd just begun the hike. I tried to assess them as we walked. They said they were UT students. When I asked about majors, 2 answered at the same time, biology and engineering. Neither corrected the other. They just glanced sideways at each other and kept walking. One girl mentioned they'd been eating berries. There are no safe berries in October in that part of the park. I didn't say anything. 3 miles in, the fog rolled down off the ridges. Thick, sudden. Within minutes, visibility dropped to 20 feet. The kids stayed exactly 10 feet behind me. I know because I kept checking. No matter how I changed pace, they stayed 10 feet back. Never 9, never 11. At Sawdust Creek, I crossed first and turned to help them. That's when I saw their reflections in the water. The shapes were wrong. Too tall, too many angles. Like shadows trying to remember what they were supposed to be. When I looked up, they were already across. I hadn't seen them move. They stood there in a loose semicircle watching me. The fog thickened. And then came the smell. Copper, like old pennies. 2 miles from the parking area, they started asking me questions. Did I have family? Did I live alone? David, the quiet one, said I seemed like someone who lived alone. When I asked how he knew that, all 5 answered at the same time. Lucky guess. I reached for my radio. They stepped closer. The girl asked me not to use it again. Said the sound hurt. All 5 stared at me, waiting. So I kept walking. What else could I do? But I started noticing everything. No bug bites, no scratches, no mud in their boot treads. Their water bottles were full, not refilled, untouched. 1 mile out, they stopped all at once. Tyler said they remembered camping in a cave. Deep, white stone, underground stream. I know every cave in that section. What he described doesn't exist, and all real caves were closed for bat hibernation. But they all nodded, adding details. Then the girl said they'd met another hiker in the cave. An older man. She described him perfectly. Tom Hutchinson. My friend. Dead 3 years. When she said his name, my blood went cold. They described conversations with him. Things he said. Things only Tom would know. He'd mentioned me. My radio crackled. Diane asking for a status update. When I raised it, they were suddenly closer. Not walking, just closer. I answered. Said we were almost out. They watched me the entire time. 50 yards from the parking lot, they stopped. Tyler thanked me. Said they'd been worried no one would come to the right place. Then he said they'd left something for me back at the creek. A gift. Before I could respond, they walked past me. The moment they hit pavement, everything changed. They cried, stumbled, collapsed. Perfect victims. Exactly what everyone expected. I went back the next morning. On the rock by the creek sat Tom's red bandana, still damp. Under it, a piece of paper. 5 names. And beneath them, in Tom's handwriting, some of them walk out again. I quit that afternoon. I live in Kansas now. But sometimes I dream of the fog. And sometimes I wonder, if I hadn't found them, would anyone have? If you have encountered such events, do tell us in comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe us. New episodes uploaded weekly.